Excellency, because of time, allow me to call upon the Secretary of the Higher Level Technical Committee that was tasked with the responsibility of organizing this National Economic Conference to read for us the resolutions and recommendations of the conference that culminated as a result of 5 days deliberations in Radisson Blu to look at what are the recommendations for our economy. Dr. Abraham, you are most welcome.
Your Excellency, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, the President of the Republic of South Sudan and Commander-in-Chief of all the organized forces, His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar Teng, the best Vice President of the Republic and the Chair of Governance Cluster, His Excellency Dr. James Wan Iga, the Vice President of the Republic and the Chair of Economic Cluster, His Excellency Hossein Abdelbagi Akol, the Vice President of the Republic and the Chair of Service Cluster, His Excellency Gerald Taban Dengai, the Vice President of the Republic and Chair of Infrastructure Cluster, His Excellency Rebecca Nyandeng de Mabior, the Vice President of the Republic and the Chairperson of Gender and Youth Cluster, Right Honorable Nuna Komba, Speaker of TNLA, Right Honorable Deng Deng, Speaker of Council of States, Right Honorable Justice Dr. John Gadwich Lul, Deputy Chief Justice of South Sudan, Presidential Advisors present, Honorable Ministers present, Governors and Chief Administrators present, MPs present, Head of Diplomatic Missions, Developmental Partners, Delegates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all the protocols remain observed. Before you is Dr. Abraham Kuol Nyuon, the Deputy Secretary of the High-Level Steering Committee and the Dean School of Social and Economic Studies of the University of Juba. Your Excellency, the President, I am honored today to present before you these resolutions for the first National Economic Conference on behalf of the Chair of High-Level Steering Committee, Honorable Dr. Bak, and the Secretary of the Steering Committee, Honorable Josephine Lagu, and I would begin by reading the preamble of the resolutions. Your Excellency, these resolutions are just but drafts of what has come out of the 5 days deliberations, which the secretariats will sit down, divide this thing according to the short-term, long-term, and mid-term programs and recommendations based on each cluster. The first National Economic Cluster, organized under the theme toward diversified, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, was convened between 4th and 9 September 2023, which brought together stakeholders from around the country and the world to analyze, debate, and offer policy ideas on how to stabilize the country's economy. Thus, the conferees appreciate His Excellency General Salva Kiir Mayardit, the President of the Republic of South Sudan, for initiating the National Economic Conference and commissioning the Ministry of Finance and Planning to organize National Economic Conference. Thanks and appreciation goes to both Honorable Dear Tong Ngor and Honorable Dr. Bak Barnaba Chol, the high-level steering committee, and the staff of the Ministry of Finance and Planning, the Ebony Center for Strategic Studies, the University of Juba, the contributing partners such as the World Bank, the UNDP, African Development Bank, for successful organization of the NEC. Appreciates and congratulates honorable ministers, honorable governors of the 10 states and the 3 administrative areas, members of Transitional National Legislative Assembly, and all the delegates of the NEC for their commitment, attendance, contribution to the discussions and recommendation of the PACE National Economic Conference. Appreciate the effort of His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar Tenj, the first Vice President and the Chair of the Governance Cluster, His Excellency Dr. James Wan Iga, Vice President and the Chair of the Economic Cluster, His Excellency General Taban Dengai, Vice President and Chair of Infrastructure Cluster, His Excellency Hussein Abdulbagi Akol, Vice President and Chair of the Service Cluster, in overseeing the deliberations of the NEC and sharing various sessions of the first National Economic Conference. Deeply concerned by the status of the development outcome in South Sudan that continue to impact the lives and the livelihoods of households and communities across the country. Recognize and appreciate the participation and the contribution of our development partners and diplomatic mission who support and participate in the NEC. Recognize the importance of the clear visions, policies, and legal framework to grow and manage a vibrant and a strong economy. Recognize the importance of instituting a robust and realistic economic plans and actionable goals to improve and develop outcomes to promote a diversified, inclusive, sustainable economic growth in the Republic of South Sudan. Assert that the first NEC was timely opportunity to discuss the key economic reforms, priorities of the country. Realize the importance of collaborative efforts and concerted need to act together to change the course and trajectory of our national economy. Validate and commit to the resolutions and recommendations of the first national conducted between the 4th to 9th September 2023. Your Excellency, the following recommendations had been divided according to the clusters based on the revitalized peace agreement. The first cluster is the governance cluster. And under the governance cluster, the Secretariat has lumped together various recommendations based on the deliberations of the conference. The NEC participants resolve that there should be greater institutional stability and less turnover among the members of the country's national economic teams, which is the Ministry of Finance, the governors of the Bank of South Sudan, and the secretaries of the Ministry of Finance and Planning. Review the laws and regulations, implement the policies and regulations and laws, enact intellectual property laws, establish e-governance for efficiency and accountability, enhance peace building and reconciliation countrywide, strengthen partnership and coordination, investment in telecommunication infrastructure, institute competitive recruitment process for public employees, demand for the removal of checkpoint countrywide to reduce transaction cost and good prices, conduct development center research to inform new and ongoing development programs, conduct development research center research to inform new and ongoing development programs, The government agencies should monitor and evaluate resource allocations and milestones attained to provide evidence on the value of the money. Establishment of National Development Planning Authority, Agency, NDA, to advance a renewed social contract between the South Sudanese citizenry and their state by restoring investment programs in the people through the development. Investment in the data generating institutions, South Sudan National Bureau of Statistics, advanced regional integration to finalize funding East African Community protocols, custom management, movement of labor and capital. Call for comprehensive disarmament to attain. Call for diaspora participation in the national program to contribute to the economic development. Call for the trust building between the government and the citizens in NEC laws that governs the insurance companies and microfinance organizations. The conference called for peaceful, credible, and fair election. Establishment of independent authority to conduct environmental impact assessment. The conference called for environmental audits. The conference called for a full implementation of NEC resolutions. Demand for the implementation of RRCs. Call for dialogue engagement between the leaders and the citizens. Strengthen the judicial and rule of law. Encourage community policing.